In round 3, this is my game as the U.S. Perhaps one of the better games I've played. Check it out here today on Legendary Tactics.
Oh, nice. So you were you had your A game with you this one. Eh?
Yeah, well, this is one where I felt I got the cards I needed more or less at the right time and got some luck. And so
in a previous game, I found that is actually really important how the cards come out.
It can definitely affect things for sure. I mean, to have Congress authorize his action in 1801 is always
brilliant.
Yeah, it's always good.
Brilliant.
To have Corsairs confiscated in the first.
I'm looking at that Bainbridge and I'm thinking that's not a bad card to have.
Bainbridge is also good, although
keep that in hand, right? You don't need it right now, but to have it in hand.
Absolutely. So, so in this case, I played the Corsairs confiscated to take out
Gibraltar.
the reinforcements in Gibraltar. And
excellent move.
Now that left me open to a pirate raid. Which of course happened, but
one gold coin. It's not bad.
and I got lucky because Tripoli played Happy Hunting, so they had 7 rolls. They had lots of opportunity, but only got one coin. So it was a bit of a risk, but and then played Merchant Ship Converted, so built up Tripoli. Really, the Tripoli got a good opening hand here. So I said, well,
you had to get
enough of this
your
nonsense.
Keister over to
I'm going to blockade Tripoli, and
okay, good.
And my opponent,
building up.
Yep, built up Corsair in Tripoli, and so I brought in the Swedes, and so
excellent. So now you have a bit of a line now.
And Tripoli decided to pirate raid.
That's
and lost 3 Corsairs in the process, and got a single coin.
Oh, wow.
Now it's winter of 1801. I'm in position, so Congress authorizes action has to be my next play to line up 1802.
Yes. Oh my, you seem in pretty good stead here.
Now Tripoli passed, and I don't know whether that was a mistake or whether they just had no other better. You know what?
Could they not have always purchased?
No, they didn't have any cards. That's why, because they played all those event cards.
They played all their events.
Yeah, so that's one of the few times I've seen that happen, actually.
Yeah, a pass.
So I got 3 frigates back into Gibraltar. So I have tribute paid in hand. I've got the Daring Stephen Decatur, but early deployments, so I can get out another frigate from the following year.
Perfect. So you're set.
The rest of the cards aren't that impressive, but
you're set with
naval
those two,
movement.
Though, you have
is
any allies that dare pop up will be quashed.
So here's the opportunity that I saw. There's only 3 Corsairs in Tripoli, and I have naval movement. Now I didn't have any gunboats, so this was a bit of a risk, and it is a bit of a risk in spring. But I thought, well, you know what? What if we do a fairly aggressive move here and see what we
Tripoli.
get? Now, there's only 3 dice, so the worst case scenario is 666 and, whatever. But
3 hits.
In this case, I thought, well, why not? Let's give this a go. And I played Preble's Boys Take Aim in order to.
Okay.
So each frigate got 3 dice. There's 12 dice there.
Oh boy.
So
you need 3. Oh, and you got 4 hits.
I got 4 hits.
Excellent.
And only 1 on their side.
Oh, so, excellent.
And this is what I thought was, kind of interesting as a play as for the U.S. There may be a good reason sometimes to just go all in on Tripoli and just crush the Corsair fleet.
Right.
And one of my frigates is damaged and has to wait until 1803, but there's no threat. I don't even need frigates.
There's literally no Corsair. Yeah. Oh, now Tangier just popped up.
Yes. So I was like, okay, well, I'll send over someone from the tribute paid, and I sent them from the harbor of Tripoli because I thought, well, the one card I was afraid of is storms, right? Because storms you roll 1 die per frigate in a patrol zone. So I thought, well, this minimizes the effect of storms. If Tripoli wants to waste the storms card on the chance of sinking 1 frigate, it's like, go nuts.
Hats off to you. Oh.
And Tripoli's at 4 coins.
You did get the 2 coins the 2 coins
Yes,
up, though.
but I mean, it's piracy at this stage is not really a threat.
No, not
So,
at 4. You're totally fine.
And so the Philadelphia runs aground.
Oh, interesting.
And did minor damage. This is what I mean. I think when you're playing Burn the Philadelphia runs aground, you have to use the cards that enhance it. So as Tripoli, I think you have to use Uncharted Waters. As US, you have to use the Daring Stephen Decatur. Otherwise, the risk is just too great.
Too high. Yeah.
So I only have the Swedish frigates patrolling Tripoli. Storms is useless, completely useless.
I mean, I guess gunboats? I don't know, attack Dern?
Yeah, well, I just decided to build up a gunboat, and Tripoli built a Corsair, and I built another gunboat, and they built another Corsair. But now I'm thinking, like, geez, like, now I got a couple gunboats.
Do you do it again?
Do I do it again? Now I have show of force, so if an ally turns up, I can take them out. I've got
you can
naval
return 2
movement.
gold coin.
I've got,
that's good. Constantinople.
Yeah, and I held on to early deployments so I can get my last frigate out early.
Good.
And
yes.
Here's another interesting play that I never realized before, but early deployment. If in this situation, take 1 American frigate from the following year of the year turn track and place it in any naval patrol zone. Well, why not throw it? I guess you can't throw it into Alexandria, but I was thinking, that might be kind of a cool play, but I just realized, no, it has to go into a patrol zone.
A patrol zone,
so that's my mistake.
Oh, I see. So
Ignore what I just said.
Right into Alexandria. Yeah, that would have been a cool idea.
So I thought, well, let's play naval movement and let's do this again.
Do it again.
And see.
I love it.
Just quash the enemy before they really get going.
And now with your gunboats, any heat they can absorb.
This is where it backfired, because in a way. Now, Tripoli played the Guns of Tripoli, which gave an extra 12 dice. But so as a result, got 3 hits instead of 1. But I was thinking, as I was playing this move, I thought, I wonder if I can draw out the Guns of Tripoli early. Because later on,
right?
It's a deadly card when you're doing the final assault on Tripoli. So I thought, you know what? Let's just take this one for the team
here.
Get the Guns of Tripoli card out of the deck.
And you did knock 1 discard, Corsair off.
Yeah, so
you took 1 Corsair.
I did get 1 Corsair. I chose to lose 2 gunboats and damage a frigate, which, again, 1 Corsair. I've got 6 waiting in Malta for whatever happens, and I have to wait until 1804 for the other 2 frigates. Okay, whatever. Now, Tripoli acquires Corsairs. Bit of a threat.
Yep.
But I've got naval movement again. So I just loaded up the naval zone. I did a bombardment on Durham that didn't end up doing anything. But
you weren't worried about storms, were you?
Well, yeah, now storms becomes more of a risk.
Yeah.
For sure. But I thought,
there's Algiers.
I didn't want to attack Tripoli again unless I had some gunboats. So now I've got show of force, though, so I can easily take out Algiers.
You got Malta just waiting for that.
Yep, ready to go. Tripoli,
there go the Swedes.
Yeah, gets rid of the Swedes. I canceled
you played
that.
Constantinople, yes.
Yeah. and Tripoli plays troops to Dern, because obviously now Hamet's army is a real threat.
Yes.
And now the only problem was I didn't draw the attack on Dern card here.
Okay.
So it's just a bad timing thing. Well, actually, I discarded it earlier, I guess, but I do have Burn the Philadelphia plus Stephen Decatur, so that's good defense against that. The Constantinople sends aid, so
yes,
if I'm looking to win by treaty, I can probably pull that off with a decent roll on.
I believe you still need Tunis. You'll have to take care of Tunis at some point.
Well, if it comes out.
Yeah,
so, yes, it is
done
potentially
2 of the 3
risk.
allies.
Yeah. So anyway, I discarded the card to move 2 frigates. I got the 1 frigate over to Alexandria for the Hamet's army and reinforced Tripoli. Now here comes Storms, and Storms actually did sink 1 frigate.
Oh boy!
So played Hamet's army, and the Corsairs get built up. But I built one of my gunboats, and there's Tunis there.
There's Tunis. Okay.
So
So what are you going to do about that?
So I basically decided just to patrol Tunis with a couple of frigates.
Okay.
Yeah. And Tripoli plays that the Tunisian Corsairs raid. And it was 1 for 1, one coin for a Corsair.
Okay.
So not a disaster.
No.
And so then we're discarding down. And then I got Show of Force in my hand. So let's just crush this here.
Tunis is gone, yeah.
Tunis is gone. So now, if I'm not mistaken, that's all 3 allies, right?
Yes.
You've
taken care of all 3.
And Tripoli has 4 Corsairs in the world and a couple of extra troops in Dern. Otherwise, there's really nothing of note.
Now you could actually do a full-on raid on Tripoli, could you not?
Yeah, and this is the thing. This is where potentially Jefferson would be a great move, because you could hit with...
Because you got 7 frigates to bring in and
a gunboat. Yeah, so I wish I'd had another gunboat for this, but yeah, anyway. So I played naval movement, and I thought, well, let's bombard Dern and get that and reinforce against the piracy option. And we managed to get a couple troops out of Dern, which was great.
Excellent. Soften it up.
So we moved in for the invasion.
Oh, he built a Corsair.
He built a Corsair, and then we battled it out for Dern. And really, there's only one card now that Tripoli can play, because this is potentially a treaty win. Now, my opponent didn't know that I didn't have treaty in hand. So they no way of knowing this, but now I'm set up perfectly
for the treaty win. Actually, there's nothing that can be done about it, is there?
No. Well, yes, there is.
I guess
Constantinople sends aid. Can be.
Oh, because that's
put a frigate into Tripoli. Now, my opponent missed that card, and I happened not to have treaty with me.
So got lucky.
So I played Jefferson, and did a big bombardment in Benghazi, just in case. It really probably didn't matter. Then my opponent remembered that one. And if I'd had treaty though in my hand previously, it would have been game over.
But as treaty,
yeah, now I have treaty though. But remember, I've got the Burn the Philadelphia with Stephen Decatur. I've held on to that. So that's going to be my first play. I get a 1 and a 5. So I sunk the frigate.
There's the classic reason why you kept those 2.
Yeah, and really, with this card, anything except for a 1 and 2 would have been fine, because if it's been damaged, it would be basically done out of the game.
Okay.
Because it's 1806.
Right.
So now, really, there's not much that Tripoli can do except
wait for the treaty card to get played.
Yeah. Now, as Tripoli,
storms.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Tripoli's hoping for. I don't know. I mean, you could sink a frigate, but I would have done just a pirate raid and just hoped that you rolled just a ton of 5s and 6s. That was about the best chance they would have had.
I know, yeah, because I'm thinking even to try and attack those 4 frigates, you would need a miracle roll.
But to no end, right? Because here we are playing treaty, and that's the game.
Yeah. This game was well in hand.
It was well in hand. I never really, in fact, when the Swedish frigates alone patrolling Tripoli can handle Tripoli. Now, I did get lucky on some rolls. I don't want to put my opponent down or anything. I thought my opponent played well to come back as well, but I happened to have all the right cards.
It did last till 1806, which is
a little bit later than I would have planned.
Considering your opponent had no Corsairs at one point, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and actually the Corsair fleet has been pretty much rebuilt now, so.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't, but I made sure, if you look at my hand, I was not taking any risks. I had launched the Intrepid in case the frigate plan didn't work. I could assault Benghazi, and I had sent in the Marines as well as assault on Tripoli to do that massive final attack.
Push there if you wanted to.
So realistically, if for whatever reason I had missed
you had a lot of options.
I still had options. I still had ways that I could have won, and very likely my assault on Tripoli would have succeeded.
So turning point in the game, where do you think? I kind of think it was where you went all in on Tripoli.
I think so. I think it was. It was
a high risk, high reward maneuver.
Yes, and I would generally only recommend that if you have at least 1 or 2 gunboats, preferably 3, obviously. But even 1 gunboat can absorb a hit. And in general, if you do it later on in the year, so you get your frigates back sooner, it's obviously a better move. I was just hoping that if I took out the Corsairs, that was going to basically disable Tripoli's ability to get any coins via piracy for a while, and it did take a while for that to rebuild. It's an impressive fleet now, but part of that is because the use of Constantinople sends aid gives
you rendered his Yusuf card basically neutered for the game.
I think that is part of U.S. strategy. Is you have to make Yusuf Karamanli that core event. I think part of your strategy is to make it a useless card.
Yeah, and I think you did that to perfection, really.
Yeah, and so
mind you had cards all game that would have blocked any allies. So
yeah. Well,
you do need the cards to be able to do that.
Yes, you do.
Or the boats to be blocking, right?
Yeah. But again, I there was a moment where like Tunis was able to raid without. I blockaded Tunis, but I couldn't take Tunis out as an ally.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
So, and that did cost me a coin, but again, the allies are, they're not. The real use of the allies, in my opinion, is in combination with Yusuf. Like that is the number one way of getting the real value.
The biggest bang allies for your buck, right? With the with the rating.
It's one card. If you have Corsairs in Tripoli and Tunis and Tangier, then you use Yusuf. That is a very powerful play.
Excellent. Well played game, and for those that stuck around, thanks for watching.
Yes, thank you for watching. And please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe down below.
This has been Legendary Tactics.